Every night, the door was locked, chains tight, guards watching. Yet every morning, 12 pairs of shoes were destroyed.
Take this cloak, child. It will hide you, but beware. Drink nothing they offer.
What if the truth was hidden not behind the door?
Drink, you must stay awake. Just a sip, it won't hurt.
But under the bed. Because some secrets don't escape, they wait. And tonight, one man is about to uncover everything. Every night, when the moonlight covered the castle, everything became completely quiet. The large door to the room of the 12 princesses was always locked with a heavy lock that no one could break. No one could enter, and for sure, no one could leave. But the next morning, something shocking happened again. All 12 pairs of shoes belonging to the princesses were worn out, as if the girls had danced hundreds of dances all night long. Not one time, not 2 times, but every single morning, the shoes were torn, scratched, and rubbed down as if someone had dragged them across the stone floor for hours. The guards were confused. The royal wizard could not explain anything. People in the kingdom began to whisper and make guesses. Maybe there's a secret tunnel under the castle. Maybe the princesses meet someone at midnight. Or maybe something magical is happening that we cannot see. The king was angry, worried, and tired of the mystery. He wanted to know the truth, no matter what. At last, he made a big announcement.
Whoever solves the mystery of the princess's worn shoes shall choose a princess to marry and become my heir.
The news spread everywhere, and many brave young men began dreaming of solving the strange mystery of the 12 dancing princesses. Hundreds of young men came to the palace, knights in shining armor, rich nobles, and even princes from nearby kingdoms all arrived with confidence. But then, the first night passed, and the second night, and the third. Still, no one succeeded. Every young man swore that he stayed awake all night, guarding the princess's door without closing his eyes even once. Yet, each morning, as soon as the sun rose, the 12 pairs of shoes were worn down again, just like before. The king did not understand. The guards did not understand. People all around the kingdom began to believe that something supernatural was happening inside the castle. Just when all hope seemed lost, a young man arrived at the city gate. He had no horse, no armor, and no noble family behind him. He was just an ordinary boy with a kind face, bright eyes, and a quiet confidence. He walked up to the guards and said calmly, "Please take me to the king. I want to try." The guards laughed, thinking he was just another foolish boy. But the king, desperate and running out of choices, decided to give him a chance. On his way to the castle, the young man saw an old woman sitting by the side of the road. She had silver hair, a thin and tired body, and deep eyes that seemed to see right into his heart. With a weak voice, she said,
"Dear boy, can you give me some food? I am very hungry."
Without hesitation, the young man opened his bag and gave her all the food he had. He did not save even a bite for himself. The old woman stared at him for a long moment, as if she had been waiting exactly for him.
You are different from the others who walk this road.
Then she reached into her old basket and pulled out a cloak. It looked worn and simple, but it felt light as wind, and strangely powerful.
Take this cloak. When you wear this cloak, you will become invisible. Use it at midnight and quietly enter the princess's room. But remember this, do not drink anything the princesses give you, not even one sip.
The young man was amazed and thankful. He bowed deeply to the old woman and held the cloak carefully in his hands. For the first time, he felt a new spark of hope rising inside him. His adventure was only beginning. That night, the young man officially began his task. The door to the room of the 12 princesses slammed shut, and the heavy lock clicked into place. He sat right in front of it, holding the magic cloak the old woman had given him. His heart was beating fast, and his hands were shaking a little.
I only need to stay awake until midnight. I just need to see how they escape this room.
Not long after, the door opened a tiny bit. The oldest princess stepped out. In her hand was a glass filled with light yellow juice. She smiled sweetly and said, "You must be tired. We prepared some fruit juice to help you stay awake." The young man suddenly remembered the old woman's warning, "Never drink anything the princesses give you." But the princess's soft voice and her friendly eyes made him hesitate. She looked so harmless, so polite. Wanting to be respectful, he accepted the glass. He took one small sip, then another. Within minutes, his eyelids grew heavy. His body felt weak, as if the world was spinning around him. He tried to grab the cloak, tried to stand, but everything faded into darkness. That night, he slept deeply until morning. When he woke, the 12 pairs of shoes were worn down again, just like before. His heart sank. He didn't know what to say. He understood clearly now. He had failed, and the old woman's warning was more serious than he had thought. On the second night, he promised himself he would not be tricked again. He stood straight in front of the princess's room, keeping his distance. But this time, the 6th princess appeared. She held a glass of sweet orange juice whose smell filled the whole hallway. "You look tired," she said kindly. "One sip, just one sip. It won't hurt you." He hesitated, but he was thirsty. Finally, he took a drink, and again he fell into a deep sleep, stronger than the night before. When he opened his eyes the next morning, the shoes were ruined again. He stood in front of the princess's room again, heart pounding, but eyes full of determination. The final night had come. The youngest princess stepped out. She carried a silver tray with a glass of orange drink. "You have been guarding all evening," she said. "Please drink this so you won't be thirsty." The young man accepted the glass politely, but this time he did not drink a single drop. He quickly poured the whole drink into a clay pot nearby. Now was the time. He put the invisible cloak over his shoulders. Then he disappeared completely. He opened the princess's door very quietly. Inside, all 12 princesses were getting ready. Then the oldest princess walked to her bed. She placed her hand on the frame and clapped 3 times. Suddenly, the bed moved to the side by itself, and under it, a secret tunnel appeared. The 12 princesses stepped down one by one. At the bottom of the stairs, in front of him, was the most magical forest he had ever seen. The young man quickly picked a silver leaf and kept it as proof. The princesses continued walking until they reached a clear, wide river. On the surface of the water were 12 beautiful swan-shaped boats. Each boat was guided by a young prince. The boats glided smoothly over the river, carrying them to a bright, shining castle. As soon as they entered the ballroom, the 12 princesses began to dance. They danced and danced without getting tired. Their new shoes scraped the floor again and again. The young man could see the shoes wearing out little by little. The princesses danced until the sky began to lighten. Their shoes were now worn out. Only then did they stop and returned to their room, just as if they had never left. The young man followed them all the way, holding two important pieces of evidence: a silver branch from the magic forest and a golden cup he took from the castle. The king entered the young man's room, just as he had promised. Then he told the king everything he had seen. At once, the king called for his 12 daughters. The princesses walked in looking nervous. The oldest princess stepped forward and bowed her head. "It is true, we did keep this secret. We visited the magical world each night because it was fun and beautiful." The king did not punish them. Then the king turned to the young man. "As I promised," he said, "you may choose one of my daughters to be your wife." In his heart, he admired the youngest princess the most. She was gentle, kind, and honest. Even though she had been part of the secret, she always looked a little sad every time she lied to him. She also liked him. She admired his bravery, his patience, and his kind heart. A grand wedding was held in the castle. After the wedding, the secret tunnel under the bed was sealed forever.